What is actually going on, my people? My name is Jake Fletcher with Remax Advance Realty, and welcome to Miami Real Estate Market Sense Making, where we make sense of the Miami-Dade real estate market. Today we're talking about quarter two of 2019. For those of you who aren't aware, quarter two is April, May, and June of the year. The business year is broken down into 4 quarters, so we have our statistics for quarter two. We're going to look at the top 5 cities in Miami-Dade for both single-family homes and for condos and townhomes, okay? Different categorization of real estate, so we're going to talk about them separately, and then at the end we're going to look at the totals for each of them separately as well. And I've painstakingly taken the time to write all these beautiful numbers, this beautiful datum up here, so sit back and enjoy, relax, grab yourself some popcorn, and let's talk about some statistics. Okay, so first let's qualify some things and establish some definitions, because that's what you do. So first we're looking at the top 5 cities based on closed number of sales, okay? So how many properties closed in that city, and that's what we're basing 1 through 5 in each of our 2 categories, single family homes and condos and townhomes. That's what we're basing that off of, because that's basically giving us the level of market activity, is how many things have been sold. So Miami Gardens, Cutler Bay, Hialeah, and Homestead happen to be the top 5 cities for closed sales in quarter 2 of 2019 in regards to single family homes. Now, in regards to townhomes and condos, we're looking at Miami Beach, Aventura, Sunny Isles Beach, and Homestead, okay? So Miami, well, I thought it was all Miami. We're talking about Miami Incorporated. So the incorporated city of Miami, not Miami-Dade, okay? So that's why you see Miami there, and it stands to reason why it's number 1 in both, because it's a huge area which covers the downtown area and much of the geography surrounding it, okay? So let's talk about definitions. So closed sales is a little bit self-explanatory. We just mentioned that number of properties closed, how many sales there were. So year over year change, we're gonna see that category here repeated after each category. We're going to see year over year percentage of change. So that's going to be written in orange. I diversified the numbers a little bit there so that it would be easier for you guys to see it. I didn't have a red highlighter. I wish I did, to write the negative numbers, but instead of red, I just drew an underline. So anytime you see an underline, that's to help you see that that's a negative number. So year over year change, year over year percentage of change is basically if we took this point right now and a year leading up to it and compared it to the year before, okay? So quarter 2 of 2019 versus quarter 2 of 2018, cool? So moving on, average sale price, basically the average dollar amount of sales in each of these cities. Dollar volume amount, that's basically the combined dollar value of all the real estate sold. Percent of original list price received. So if you sold something for $100, or if you had something for sale for $100 and it sold for $99, you got 99% of the original listed price for it, okay? So same thing with real estate. We calculate this number as a measure of basically, it helps us to tell how hot the market is. It's not the only indicator, but it is one for sure. So percentage of original list price received, make the difference there that it's the original list price, not the list price right before it went under contract. So sometimes you think your house is worth $1 million, but it's only worth $750,000, and throughout the process of it was first listed for $1 million, and then 2, 3, 4, 5 months later you brought it down to 900, 6 months later down to 8, finally down to 7, etc., right? So we're looking at the original list price, so that would be, in that example, that $1 million, okay? So, and median time to contract, okay? That's how long it takes between the property being listed on the market to it going under contract. Notice, not to the actual sale closing, okay? That's a different metric. We're looking at median time to contract, which basically, because when you put something under contract, it can take varying amounts of time to close depending on all kinds of factors. So basically we're just looking at median time to contract, how long it took from when it went on the market to it actually getting under contract and then selling. So month supply of inventory is the last one down here, and that's a very, very important metric that we look at to tell how healthy is the market. Okay, are we in a normal market? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Etc. So you see my little squiggle line here that separates our single family homes from our condos and townhomes. Clearly I could have been the next big artist, but we did real estate instead, and we're glad. So over here to the right hand side, you barely can see it. So you're going to have to just listen closely when I get to those totals. You have the single family home totals. The orange line goes down the middle. On the right side, you have the townhomes and condos. And again, also with the year-over-year percentage of change. Let's jump into the numbers because that's what you guys want to know. We're going to go down city by city, okay? So Miami, the incorporated city of Miami. Miami 305, y'all. It's all 305. But you know what I'm talking about. So 324 closed sales. That's a lot of homes. That's a lot of properties. But year over year, it was a negative 0.6% change. That's negative 0.6% less. Not really that statistically significant, but interesting. Average sale price, $663,000. Get your money ready. 5.8% increase year over year. So houses are going up almost 6% in value year over year. Dollar amount of value volume, $215 million. So like I said, get your wallets ready. That's a 5.2% increase year over year, which is similar to that average sale price. So that makes sense that those would be kind of almost in line, right? We see a similar pattern there. Percentage of original list price received in Miami-Dade was 93%. You got your bargain hunters out there, right? So, and that's also, as you can, if you look ahead here, a little bit lower of a percent than these other ones, right? So Miami-Dade, you got your bargains there. So, or the ability to bargain, I should say, since they're $663,000 average sale. So year-over-year percent of change, only 0.1%. Not very statistically significant, but interesting nonetheless, right? So median time to contract, 70 days. Wow, that seems like a lot of time, especially considering that these are less. Not really, not really. That's a little over 2 months, so not really that long of a period of time if you think about it. So year-over-year percentage of change, though, that's 22.8%. Big percentage increase. Still not a lot of time, though, in my opinion. So you were looking at basically, what, 56-ish days, 55 days to contract last year, quarter two. So interesting that it's taking a little longer to sell in Miami-Dade, but nothing to really worry about. Month supply of inventory, 8 months, okay? That's a healthy market. Anything between 6 months to 12 months, that's a healthy market, okay? Now, percentage of change there is negative 1.2%. See the little line under the negative there to help you see that. Negative 1.2% year-over-year change for months of supply. That means that number went down, okay? So it went a little bit down. Now, little word of qualification again here, just to add on to that. Some of these values I rounded, okay, just to make it a little easier to digest, a little bit easier to see and comprehend what's actually going on, because there's a couple numbers up here. AC kicked on. Hopefully you guys can still hear me and it's not a big deal. We're moving on. All right, so Miami Gardens. Wow, Miami Gardens, 240 closed sales, killing it. 13.2% year-over-year percentage of change. Average sale price, $263,000, considerably less than incorporated Miami. 9.9% year-over-year change with that sale price. So sale price went up, all right? $63 million volume, dollar volume, so pretty nice number there. 24.5% year-over-year change. That dollar volume went way up, almost 25%. That's huge, guys. So percentage of original list price, 97%. Pretty normal, all right? negative 0.6% year over year change. So actually went down a little bit, okay? So it was actually, people were getting a little higher of percentage of original list price before, and now it's gone down a little tiny bit, but not that significant, statistically significant, okay? Median time to contract, 43 days, not very long, 30.3% increase. So year over year, last year, properties were flying off of the shelf, okay? So slowed down a little bit, but 43 days is nothing for a huge transaction, one of the biggest of many people's lives, right? So 2.5 months supply of inventory. That's the blink of an eye and those houses are gone, okay? So if you're looking in Miami Gardens, you probably might have to act quick when you find that dream home, okay? So year over year percentage change, that's up 13.6%. What? So it was less year over year. It was less months of inventory. That's crazy. So it was like 3-ish. I'm doing rough mental math here. So Cutler Bay, wow, incredible, beautiful community of Cutler Bay, 188 closed sales, incredible. Good job, guys. 35.3% increase year over year. So they're killing it. It's popping. It's a very hot place to be right now. $319,000 average sale price. Pretty respectable number in the Miami market. That's mid-market is what we call that, and it's in the lower end of the mid-market. So that's a negative 10.4% year over year change as far as the average sale price. Pretty interesting that it actually went down, but they're selling more houses. So maybe there's more houses that are worth a little bit less that are selling quicker. What does that tell us? People are looking for deals. Cool. All right, $60 million volume of sales. That's incredible considering that it's very close to Miami Gardens, and there was almost 52 less sales, right? So pretty impressive. 21.2% year over year change. We see a pretty good pattern there between Miami Gardens, Cutler Bay, and Hialeah. That dollar amount volume is going up. 97% of original list price, we're seeing that pattern there too. That's 0.1% change, statistically insignificant, interesting nonetheless. Median time to contract, 59 days. Not that long, not really that long, okay? So, good numbers. Here's where things get crazy. 103.4% year over year change on that median time to contract. What does that mean, Jake? That means that it was like 30 days time to contract last year, right? So it's gone up a little bit, but hey, 60 days, less than 3 months, it gives you time to pack, okay? So, month supply of inventory, 3.1, craziness, okay? That's down 13.9%, which means that things are flying off the shelves a little bit quicker in Cutler Bay, which makes sense because we see a big increase year over year in the amount of sales, okay? Closed sales. So, Hialeah, 150 closed sales, great number, 9.5% year over year change. It's popping, it's getting hot in Hialeah. $362,000 average sale price, 12.5% year over year change. Pretty interesting statistic there. Things they're selling more, and we're seeing a higher percentage price, right? Maybe there's a lot of demand, right? So, $54 million per dollar of volume, great number. 23.1% year over year change. That's a pretty big change, right? We've seen this pattern here, like I said, between Miami Gardens, Cutler Bay, and Hialeah. 96% of original list price. So pretty similar to 97%, not that statistically significant, but hey, maybe you can hit them with a little bit lower of an offer if you're looking in Hialeah versus Cutler Bay, right? So, negative 1.4% year over year percentage of change. Pretty interesting. Again, not a huge statistically significant number, but the biggest percentage of change that we see across those 5 cities on the percentage of original list price. So that means that it went down from 296 from a higher number, right? So, let's keep moving on here. 46 days median time to contract. Very respectable number. That's a 70.4% increase year over year. So, wow, Hialeah was just blistering breakneck market speeds last year. So, let's go on to months of supply of inventory, 4.7. Oh my gosh, well that's more than the 2 before. Still not very much. Still not a very long time. Not even half a year. 6.8% year over year increase there. So Interesting. Let's go on to Homestead. 136 closed sales in Homestead. Have you guys been to Homestead lately? It's developer city. It's a bastion for new developments and neighborhoods. It's crazy. So that's a pretty interesting statistic if you ask me. 136 closed sales, but whoa, it's down 31.7%. Incredible that it was even up 31.7%, right? Because you don't really usually think of Homestead as a top 5 city for closed sales in Miami, do you? Now, that's a pretty statistically significant number, I would say, right? And interesting that that's a negative number and Cutler Bay is a positive number. So Cutler Bay is heating up, Homestead is cooling down, but they're all still pretty much magma, all right? 282,000 average sale price. If you're looking for a very reasonably priced single family home, you just started a new family, maybe you're looking to upgrade to a bigger house, you can get some really good, great amount of house for your money down there, okay? That's a 7.5% increase year over year in that sale price. Demand is going up, right? Even though the amount of closed sales has gone down, that tells us that there's still a pretty high demand, okay? Now, $38 million in volume. Okay, well that's a big difference between the other ones, but look at our sale price there, and that explains a little bit of why the dollar volume is less, along with the fact that there was less closed sales than the other ones, okay? Now, moving on to percentage of original list price received. Before I move on though, that's down 26.5% on that dollar volume, okay? So the dollar volume, the amount of sales went down, right? We see that in line, just like we saw before. It's kind of a pattern, right? We see those patterns in the market. And it's good to recognize those. 97% of original list price received, nothing new. Down negative 0.7%, not statistically significant, but we see the trend, right? Now, 45 median days till contract, pretty much in line with some of what we've seen, right? Pretty normal activity there. That's a 7.1% year over year change. So the least statistically significant change for median time to contract in Homestead. So moving on to months of supply, 5 months of supply of inventory. That's not a lot of time, guys. We're looking at very normal market conditions here, and actually these are what we would call a seller's market here, okay? That means that there's a lot of demand. There's not as much supply as there is demand. So there is people are getting those houses, and they're moving pretty quick, okay? And year over year change percentage there, 51.5%. Wow, that's crazy, right? So it actually is 51.5% more, which means Homestead was ripping, roaring, it was crazy year over year, quarter 2 2018. So 2.5 months, kind of activity that we're seeing now in Miami Gardens. Interesting. Let's move on to condos and townhomes. This is where things get wild and crazy, kids. If you're a 90s person, you know that's a TV show reference there. If you're not, check it out, Wild and Crazy Kids. So, condos and townhomes, Miami Beach, Aventura, crazy, Sunny Isles Beach. We're going to talk about that. Homestead again. So we're seeing some overlap there. Miami being number 1, Homestead coming in at a solid number 5. Good job. All right, and then we're going to talk about the totals after that. Miami, incorporated city of Miami, closed condos and townhomes, 792. That's incredible. Okay, it's a 5.5% year over year increase. Great. Good indicator there of the market going good. And $447,000 average sale price. So pretty nice condos getting sold in Miami, right? That's a negative 1.7% decrease year over year in that average sale price, which is, you could say that's statistically significant, but could just be a little bit of a bump. We see that there's an increase in sales activity, which means there's more demand. When there's more demand and there's still a good supply, right? What happens when there's high demand and high supply? Well, you're going to see a lot of competition to get things sold. You're going to see those sale prices go down a little bit. So didn't go down a lot though, right? Now, $354 million of volume, okay? Which is just an staggering, incredible amount of money. and that's a 3.6% increase year over year. 92% of original list price. So if you look ahead here again, don't look ahead too often, but I'm telling you right now, look ahead here, we see much lower numbers for the percentage of original list price received. What does that tell us? You can get a better bargain on a condo and a townhome than you can on a single family home, meaning that there's more demand for those single family homes. Still a lot of demand for both though. And if you want to get a good bargain, I'm going to tell you who to call at the end. Spoiler alert, it's me. 92% of the original list price received, that's still a pretty good number. People are being ambitious too. So 0.1% year over year change, not statistically significant at all. 107 days median time to market. Now that's a decent amount of time, right? It's like, median time to contract. That's a decent amount of time, right? We're looking at a little over 3 months, 3.5 months-ish. So, you could say, hey, that's a lot of time. I'd still say that's, it's pretty normal market conditions, okay? Especially considering that there's so much selection out there. People are having to wrap their minds around, everything that's on the market in incorporated Miami. So that's a negative 17.1% decline. So it was actually more days until contract last year over year, right? Which is very statistically significant, guys. That tells us that the market is healthy. It's getting healthier, right? That metric as far as Miami-Dade, Miami Incorporated, the city of Miami, not Miami-Dade. So 21.2 months of supplies of inventory. Hold up, Jake, you just told me that the market was doing well. You're right, I did. So condos are a very special case as far as months of supply of inventory here in Miami-Dade. We've had a lot of development of condos, right? And they've kind of started to outpace the demand of those condos, which is why we're starting to see a lot of markets for condos moving into a buyer's market, okay? Single family home sellers market, all right? Condos buyer's market, all right? So, which basically means, like I said, there's a little bit more supply than there is demand. Still strong demand for all of everything across the board, but 21.2 months of inventory is a negative 10.5% change year over year, so it was more. Again, getting healthier with our market here. It's obviously eating organic, right? So, terrible joke. Miami Beach, 485 units sold, closed sales. That's incredible. And that's actually a 13.7% reduction year over year. So they were selling even more units last year in Miami-Dade, which is Miami Beach, which is awesome. Check out this average sale price, $632,000. Get your bank accounts ready. Get your wallets, get your cash out, your funds, get your cryptocurrency ready. That's a lot of money, boys and girls. Negative 19.3% reduction year over year. So that means that they were going for even higher price last year over year, right? So $307 million dollar value, that's a lot, especially considering that it's not too far off from Miami, and almost 800, almost 500, 5 out of 8, 5/8 of it, but it's only, less than $50 million off. Negative 30.3% reduction year over year in that dollar volume. Crazy, right? Also kind of speaks to our year over year change decrease in the amount of closed sales and the decrease in average sale price, right? So check this out. About 20 plus about 13, 33, come down here, negative 30. Similar numbers, we see patterns, okay? 90% original list price. That's a low percentage of original list price compared to what we've seen in single families and even compared to incorporated Miami. So if you are a bargain hunter, Miami Beach might be the place for you, right? Because you can just lowball offers all day with a buyer's agent, which I'm not. So negative 0.4% change there. It's gone down. And 151 median days till contract. Wow. Think about that for a second. That's a decent amount of time, okay? Statistically significant change because it's 20.8% more median days till contract than it was. 20.3 months of inventory, month supply of inventory, similar numbers to what we've seen there so far. That's a 0.5% increase, not statistically significant at all. Spoiler alert, mind boggler, surprise of the century, Aventura was number 3 in closed sales for condos and townhomes. Who would have thought? They do have total line. So negative 1.4 decrease. So they were selling more, right? Last year over year, but not by a lot. $426,000 average sale price. That's a healthy, respectable number. That's an 8% increase year over year, 8% even. $122 million of volume. That's pretty good amount of volume, right? 6.5% year over year change. So they're selling more dollar amount of units, and they're increasing the average sales price, but we see a small reduction in the amount of units sold, right? So that's very interesting. 89% of original list price. Aha! Now we see that you can get a great bargain there in Aventura as well, okay? Which means that people are really trying to sell those units up in Aventura. They're willing to go down to 89% of the original list price, right? That's a negative 1% change decrease, okay? So interesting there as well. It's actually gone down from 89 to 89 from 90%, right? So people are desperate. They're trying to sell you any condo they can up in Aventura. 143 median days to contract. Now we know why, right? They're sitting on them for a little bit of time. 8.3% increase year over year. 19.7 months of inventory supply. Lowest that we've seen so far for the townhomes and condos, but still a decent time, right? It's, over a year still. We're looking at over a year and a half, a year and 7 months, almost a year and 8 months, right? Negative 4.4% year over year change. So they're moving a little bit quicker, right? They're increasing decreasing the months of inventory there. Now, Sunny Isles Beach. This is great news for Sunny Isles Beach because they were kind of going through a little bit of a sales slump. It's all about the condos and townhomes up in Sunny Isles Beach, really just the condos. 192 closed sales, 20.8% increase, 20% more homes sold. So it went up from like 170-ish to 190-ish. Does that make sense? No. It went from like, yeah, that's about right, 160 something, right? So $780,000 average sales price. What? You're getting some nice condos up in Sunny Isles Beach. If you've ever been there, then you know why. 6.7% increase. So they're selling more. They're increasing the price. It's a hot market up there. Now, dollar volume, $150 million. Stop for a second and look at this. $122 million in Aventura, right, of dollar volume. $150 million in Sunny Isles. But Aventura sold almost 100 more closed sales. So very interesting, and that's obviously evidenced by the fact that the average sale price is a big difference there. So that's at 88% of original list price. So they're slinging those condos left and right, but you can still get stuff for a discount there. All right, 0.3% increase, not very significant. Statistically speaking, 175 median days until contract. What? That's crazy. A lot of time, that's a 38.9% year over year change. So although the market is hot, it's kind of not that hot, right? Because it's increased by almost 40% the median days until contract. So very interesting statistic there, because although they're staying on the market a little bit longer, we're seeing the sales prices go up. We're seeing the volume go up. We're seeing the closed sales amounts go up. So very interesting. Now let's look at the months of supply. Ladies and gentlemen, put on your seatbelts. 32.8 months of supply of inventory in Sunny Isles. Now we see why that median time to contract is so high, and that's evidenced and backed up by the months of supply of inventory. Wow. So that's a long time. That's over 2 years. That's almost 3 years supply of inventory. So if you got a unit for sale in Sunny Isles, you hope you got somewhere else to live between when you're wanting to sell it and it's sold. So negative 6.8% year over year change. So that's the crazy thing, is that it's actually gone down. So it was actually almost 7% higher the months of supply of inventory year over year last year. So like I said, if you got a place in Sunny Isles, I hope you got a good book to read. Now, Homestead, wow, coming in on both of the top fives. Like I said, have you guys been to Homestead? It's popping down there. 178 closed sales, very respectable. 8.5% year-over-year increase, nice. $167,000 average sale price. Wow. So if you're, again, looking for a nice place to live for your family, for yourself, and you're looking to not spend a whole lot of money, Homestead is a good spot to look. Yeah, you got to spend a little bit more time in your car, spend a little bit more time on, spend a little more money on tolls, but compare that price to all these other prices, and spending a little bit of money on tolls suddenly makes a little more sense. Now, 5.2% year-over-year change. That sales price has gone up. The demand has gone up. The price has gone up because that inventory is, as we're going to see, I don't want to spoil it, but it's a little lower months of supply of inventory down there. So, moving on, that is $30 million of sales volume. Well, that's so small compared to everything else. Okay, can I borrow $30 million? It's a lot of money, all right? 14.2% year-over-year change there. So they're selling. It's increasing by a lot. That's very significant. 97% of original list price. There's so much demand that people aren't really getting that good of discounts down there. I mean, 3%, I'll take 3% any day, but compared to the rest of the condos, very, very statistically significant difference there. Now, 0.2% increase year-over-year. That's pretty interesting because that supports the fact that it's a hot market. 46 median days to contract. What's going on? Those are single family home numbers. How are you condos in Homestead at single family home numbers for median time to contract? Because it's a hot market, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what happens. 15% increase year over year as far as that median time to contract. So it was actually less days last year, and it's gone up a little bit. Still a very respectable number, okay? 4.6 months of inventory. Homestead is on fire. It's an inferno. It's the ground zero of all things hot in the Miami real estate market right now. That's crazy numbers for condos, guys. 4.6 months of inventory, and that's a 4.5% increase, okay? So it's actually gone up a little bit, all right? So Homestead is, definitely not a buyer's market, okay? And let's move on to the totals. Now, this is the big finale. Drum roll, please. We're going to talk about them separately, okay? Now, take a deep breath. This is where it all culminates, okay? Single family homes total closed sales, 3,854. That's a lot. Condos, 4,007. Killing it, all right? So almost 8,000 closed sales year over year. That's very nice. 1.8% year over year change for single family homes. Condos went down 0.6%. Okay, so a little bit less percentage amount, or a little bit less amount of closed sales for condos, but not that statistically significant. 1.8% increase in single families, on the other hand, I would say is. So, what's our average sale price for single family homes? $532,000, ladies and gentlemen. Get your wallets ready. Condos, $402,000. So we're looking at a $130,000 difference on average for a condo to a single family home in Miami-Dade. So remember, these are Miami-Dade numbers, not Miami the city, Miami-Dade the county, okay? Negative 4.5% year over year change for single family homes. So we've actually seen that price go down a little bit. A lot of competition, a lot of demand out there. And a lot of supply, so the number goes down when there's a lot of supply. Negative 8.1% for condos. Yeah, exactly. We're seeing a bigger number there for the average sale price as far as, well, it's actually a smaller number because it's negative. We're seeing a bigger change in the average sale price between condos going down because there's more month supply of inventory. They're sitting on the market longer, right? Now, dollar amount volume. Hold on to your actual hats, your fedoras, whatever you have on your head, or your pants. $2 billion volume in single family homes, $1.6 billion in condos. That is crazy. $3.6 billion of real estate sold year over year. Good job, Miami-Dade. Negative 2.8% decrease single family homes year over year as far as that metric, and a negative 8.7% decrease year over year for condos and townhomes. Very interesting. We're also seeing a pattern here. Anytime there's negative numbers for our single family homes, there's a negative number for the condo, and it's a bigger negative number or a smaller number, right? So 95% of original list price for single family homes and 94% of list price for condos. Not a huge difference there, but condos still a little bit lower percentage of original list price, meaning you can get better bargains, better discounts, right? Now that's a negative 6% change, negative 0.6% change for single family homes. That's a 0% change for condos. So not a lot of news on the original percentage of original list price received front for condos year over year. 58 days to contract for single family homes, 76 days median days to contract for condos. Again, we see that condos are always slacking a little bit more compared to single family homes. The market's a little cooler, but 76 days, not a lot of time. That's less than 3 months, right? It's barely over, it's like 2.5 months, right? So pretty good. Now, 31.8% increase for single family homes. So we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown in terms of the amount of time that single family homes are on the market, which means year over year last year, it was just too hot to even handle for the single family homes market. Negative 1.3% decrease for condos and townhomes. So they're actually starting to sell a little bit quicker overall in Miami-Dade, which is good. Good news. 6.2 months of supply of inventory for single family homes, ladies and gentlemen. That is the definition of a healthy market. So this is a great time to buy or sell, especially with interest rates for a 30-year mortgage so low right now at historic lows. And 13.4 months of inventory for condos, okay? So that's a lower number than we've seen for the top 5 cities, well, minus Homestead, because Homestead's hotter than the devil. But 13.4 is over 12 months, right? So that's a little bit slower. It's almost basically double of what a single family home months of inventory is. So things are staying on the market on average a little over a year, but on average it's not that bad compared to these top places where there's, again, a lot of supply, still a lot of demand, but way more supply than there is demand, okay? Basic supply and demand economics 101. Now, 3.3% increase year over year for single family homes in Miami-Dade as far as that months of supply. So it's gone up just a little, but it's not a lot, right? Because we're still at 6.2. So basically that's telling us that, you know, we're going from, we've gone from a strong seller's market. We're starting to edge towards a buyer's market for single family homes, but it's still almost a seller's market still, and it's very normal market activity. So nothing to, you know, to sweat bullets over or lose sleep. This is all very normal. Now, negative 3.6% for months of supply of inventory for condos and townhomes, okay? So that number's gone down a little bit as far as how long it takes, how many months of inventory it would take to clear that, that supply of inventory, and that supports what we've already seen too, that the condo market is, yeah, it's a little bit slower than the single family homes, but it's starting to heat up a little bit more, and the single family homes market is starting to, I don't even want to use the word cool down because it kind of has a negative association, but it's starting to be slightly less hot than it was, okay? So negative 3.6% is letting us know that, hey, yeah, these condos are starting to move a little bit quicker. People are getting better deals on them, right? So the consumer is feeling like, hey, I can get a good deal on a condo, let's go buy one. Then you see more condos flying off the shelves, months of supply of inventory goes down. So that's it for this video. For all of you who stayed tuned with me until the end, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys checking it out. Follow my YouTube channel. This is going to be posted there. And yeah, that's the story here as far as the market recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you need any help with anything real estate worldwide, of course locally in Miami, or worldwide because I'm connected to so many people. I'd love to help you out and connect you with them, and they are obviously great people. So if you want to work with great people, let me know. Give me a call. I'll put my contact information below as well as my email. Thank you so much. I'll see you again in 2 weeks for the next bi-weekly Miami real estate market sense making. Sell smart, buy bold. Rock on.